The following movie has been rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association of America. Some material may be inappropriate for young children.
Oh my God! Flash!
Hi.
I love you!
Thank you.
Patching you into Mr. Wayne.
No, please don't.
I need you here now, Barry.
So you're saying you could travel back in time?
But Bruce, I can fix things. I could save people. I could save my mom. I could save your parents.
You could also destroy everything.
Love you, Mom. I love you too.
So how was it this week? How's school?
School was good. Oh, this is mad trippy. Dude, this is catastrophic.
This world must die.
I'm not gonna lose her again. It's not Clark.
My name is Kara. I will help you.
Interesting group.
Want some help?
Wait, he's Batman?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Oh, this rips! We're in uncharted territory. Batman, what do we do?
We try not to die.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
You have fancy friends.
No, it was an Uber. Oh, exec.
It's the 10th year of my movie month. 30 movies, 30 days. Movie month, 30 podcasts, 30 days. Movie month, 30 movies, 30 days, 30 podcasts. It's year 10.
What's the best movie snack?
Sour Skittles.
Sour Skittles. Oh my God. Are you guys prepared for the level of fame that being on the podcast is going to give you? Niece, I'm not going to use your names. Niece?
You can call me by my name.
I could,
You can
but
call me by my name. I'm on TikTok.
That's
Follow
true.
me, baby. At sport_over_school, baby. Sports over school. Follow me.
on TikTok? I didn't even know you were on TikTok.
He has 3 accounts.
Oh my God. Are you guys
700 followers. Follow me.
Are you guys excited at all about going to see today's movie?
Actually, kind of, once you explained it.
Cool.
Yes,
cool.
I am.
Very much so. Very good. Now, are you prepared for me to embarrass you and tell everyone that you had to drag me because you guys are into your superhero movies, and
We've never watched a DC movie.
and I'm gonna what?
We told you that.
What? This is crazy. So, just to give the millions of listeners around the world, it is day 16 of movie month, and I'm here with my niece and nephew in the car. We're driving to the movie theater right now. And I thought we'd do a little, pre-record before the movie, and then we can get our instant reactions after the film, even though the film is 2.5 hours long. And we were supposed to go to an hour earlier show, but the show got canceled because the IMAX screens at the theater 10 feet from our house broke. So now we have to drive 5 minutes away. Such a pain. Crazy.
So bad.
But I have my niece here who's going into 8th grade next year, and my nephew here, I want to say he's going into 2nd grade or 6th grade, one of the other. 6th grade. Oh, very nice. What a good boy. And, I was prepared to go to this movie by myself, but I'm very happy that they decided to come along with me. And now when we're in there, do me a favor, right? So I look good. Can you just call me Dad? Can you call me Dad? Can you call me Dad when we're in there? Just a little bit. Like once or twice, Dad, I'll be like, and then I'll be like, shut up! I'm your uncle. Stop trying. I'm not your dad, no matter how bad you want it.
You're embarrassing yourself on your own podcast.
It's all right. These people know. They know what to expect from me now. They know me just as well as you do. So we're already pretty much. We got on the highway. We're getting off the highway in 1 mile. We're almost there. I wanted to get there early so we could put our makeup on, put our costumes on.
Oh my god! Stop!
I'm the only. At least I'm wearing a Superman shirt, even though he's not in the movie.
I hope we're only going early for the previews.
That too, yeah, and to get our food, and so I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be about 20 minutes in the bathroom, but don't worry, I'll be fine.
No.
And that's it.
Take a massive one.
Oh boy, and we'll end it on that, and we'll see you after the movie. We just got out of the Flash. It was long. It was loud. The screen was humongous. But I'm not going to lie. I loved it. And Emma and Ben, what were you thinking?
I really liked it. It was really good. It was incredible. Totally recommend it.
Oh.
One of the best movies I've seen before ever. In my top 10.
Awesome. Awesome. Makes me so happy to hear that. Were you confused? It was a little confusing with all the different Flashes and the different Batman.
Bit, but then I was like, oh, so that happened and that happened and
that
happened.
Yeah, they kind of explain it a little. They try to.
Yeah.
And did you know there was going to be different Batman in it? Different Bruce Waynes? And
you told us that,
yeah.
So yes.
Do you recognize any of those people?
Yes,
oh.
Actually.
They've been in other movies and stuff, yeah. I didn't realize there was going to be different Flashes the whole time. And, spoiler alert to everybody, we saw other Supermen, some Supermen from the 70s, some from the 50s. We saw Superman that never even happened, but were supposed to happen. We saw Batman from the 60s. I mean, we were, at a certain point, worlds were colliding, and we were seeing all different versions of these characters. But, of course, you watched the movie. Otherwise, there's no way you would be talking about... you would be listening to this right now unless you saw it. But I was very excited to be watching this on opening, the opening day, the first day it's out. So it's fresh. So hopefully more people will download it, and I can finally be famous and then support my niece and nephew on their future ventures. Oh, yeah, the windows. So any last words? Any final thoughts you want to throw in there?
If you haven't watched it, watch it and watch it and watch it. It's so good.
Yeah, we started on a huge screen. It was like so when we went, we had tickets to an AMC IMAX, and then I got an email yesterday, the show's been canceled, and I was like, oh no. So I looked, and there was the IMAX screen had an issue. They had it on the regular screen, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But luckily, there's a theater. I think I talked about this already earlier, but who cares? There's a theater right up the road, next town over. It's a Cinemark. I've never been there. This is the first time I've been to a theater since 2019, and they have something called DX, whatever that is. It's basically the same thing as IMAX. XD. I knew that. DX is wrestling. So XD, and it was huge.
Think of it this way: Benjamin is a 4'10" little boy. It was probably 1,000 times the size as him.
Yeah. We took a picture of him up there. It looked like a little ant in front of a TV screen. It was incredible, and the sound was shaking our chairs. It was like I thought there was something wrong. I was like, who's that behind me? Is Batman behind me? So all in all, a terrific movie, and terrific company to go along with it. Thank you guys for coming with me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I will talk to you later, everybody. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Finally got those kids out of here. All right. Now it's just us adults talking. Mature adults. Brought them back to their parents. I said, hey, good luck. I gave them a lot of sugar. Have a nice evening. And now I'm here to kind of do my normal talk about this movie. I go into these movies wanting to like them. And it's like, I go into this and being like, okay, I hope you don't let me down. Not you have to, it's like, you don't have to build up a movie and surprise me. It's like, please don't let me down for some of these movies. When I see movies with characters that I love, and the hope of seeing different characters, I'm like, oh my God, I'm excited to see this. I sure hope it lives up to what I want it to live up to. And I think, excuse me, for the most part, coming out of the movie, what can I say? I really, really liked it. I think I loved it. But I feel like now we're seeing the end of things. And yet, there's still that Peacemaker show out there that is still part of film lore, that is still part of the existing DC world, except we know that James Gunn is changing everything. So I felt like, what am I losing here? Like, what is everything that we're seeing here just completely going to be forgotten? I feel like, I'm not sure if this is setting up anything or just being its own thing and being like, look how much we enjoyed it. And now it's, it's probably going away. If that's the way it is, I feel like this era at least went out in a very positive way. And yet, I'm sorry, I forgive me, there's an Aquaman movie out there, right? So it's not over. It is so freaking confusing of what is going to be going on here. So I guess what I want to do is not worry about it. Go along for the ride. Enjoy each movie for what it is, or not enjoy, because, there is a Black Adam that I just thought was very meh, and there was a Shazam 2 that I kind of enjoyed, but I didn't think was anything special. And then there's this, where I just went in looking for some kind of, I don't know, I felt like I was just going in hoping for something incredible. Did I get something incredible? I don't know. Were there moments where I thought, oh my God, they went there? Yes. Were there moments where I thought, like, okay, what didn't I like? And I'm trying to think that now I'm thinking story-wise. I'm not sure there's anything I didn't like in the story. This is Flash. Flash, I think it is related to, it is kind of that Flashpoint storyline. I think I'm right. I'm not well-known in this, like well-versed in this. I should go back and just read the original Flashpoint. I have the app, where Barry wants to go back in time to save his mother, but in doing so screws up the timeline. And they kind of used timelines as the multiverse, where it wasn't like two worlds next to each other. It was this, at least this is my understanding, the way Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, one of many Bruce Waynes, the way he described it, was that when you do something like this, you create a new timeline that goes both ways. Time is not linear, so it's not like your Back to the Future movie, which we'll get there, where now it starts anew at this point. There's if it goes in both directions, and if you do it too many times, you have so many different directions, that's where you create a multiverse in a bowl of spaghetti. I think I got that right. But the only thing like negative to me in the story, not even in the story, was some of the CGI. Now we watched it on a huge screen. I guess as close to IMAX as possible. I mean, the screen was ginormous. And some of the CGI effects I thought weren't the greatest. Now, some of them were perfectly awesome. And I'm talking about specific things. Now, at the end, we get a bunch of multiverse characters of different like worlds colliding, and all of a sudden you're seeing all these different characters. Some of them were, it was like film footage, but some were like literally CGI. Those weren't the greatest, but it still gave me like chills of it still was awesome. The part that I actually was like, why do they do it this way when I've seen it done before better? And I feel like the two Barrys, it seemed like the one who was talking more was actually Ezra Miller, and while the other one was like a body double with the CGI like deep fake face over it, and sometimes it looked too CGI to me. Now that is nitpicking, okay? That is nitpicking, but that was the one thing that I noticed it. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is awful, but it was noticeable, and I was just like, ooh, okay, all right. And I hated that I noticed it, because then I noticed it every time, and I was like, oh, there it is again. There's the CGI face again. I was like, stop it. Just enjoy the story for what it is. I was talking to my friend's girlfriend, and she said, is it Flashpoint? I go, I think so. And he's getting dragged, literally, well, maybe not literally dragged, but figuratively dragged to the movie tomorrow night at like 9:30. I said, he's definitely going to fall asleep. But, excuse me. She asked me, who's better at The Flash? Was it Grant on TV, or is it Ezra Miller? And it was like tough for me because I watched The Flash for 9 seasons. I stayed with it the whole way. I was watching it when I loved it. I was watching it in the middle, and then I'm watching it at the end going, there were moments I liked, but then there were the rest of the moments. And I feel like the show where everyone's getting powers. Hey, you're on the show. Guess what? You now have powers. Boom. Which means the Flash is, less special when everyone's got powers. And the show kind of left in a whimper. So maybe it's the fresh new thing, but not that fresh new, because we've seen this guy play this character in multiple movies now, and he even showed up on the Flash TV show. But it pisses me off so much that how good I thought he was, and how much I liked him as this character, and yet, from all my understandings, I don't know if he's an actual criminal, or if he's just got if it's a mental health issue, or if he's just a douchebag. I don't know. Like, I've heard predatory things. I've heard this. I've heard just he's not like, and it's sad that I think, oh no, that probably means he won't be the Flash anymore. That shit doesn't matter. Obviously, real life matters more. Now, I got up with it during the big battle. There's a huge battle going on, and we talk about I'm spoiling this, right? We see Batman and Supergirl get killed, and then they're like, "Wait, we could fix it." And right then, my nephew turns and says, "I got to go to the bathroom," and I'm like, "Let's go." And he goes, "Well, I can go alone." I go, "No, come on, let's go." He goes, I thought you wanted to watch. I go, "Don't worry about it. You're more important, than some movie." So, and I did rush him. I said, "Come on." I went quick, and I said, "Don't worry, I had to go too. This worked out, perfectly fine." But I wasn't going to make him go to the bathroom alone. Come on. My 12-year-old niece, yeah, she can go alone. But my 10-year-old nephew, no, I'm going with you, buddy. And we went and came back, and literally, when I snuck back in, it looked like we were gone for less than 2 minutes. And the bathroom was right there. We got back in. I sidled up on the other side. Like, I was sitting on the other side of my nephew. I came in, and he was in the middle. I came in because there was no one else really in our row, right up next to my niece. And I said, "What did we miss?" And just because she wanted to tell me, "Oh, they went back and they tried to save them, but it didn't happen. And then they went back in and tried to save them, but they couldn't do it. Okay, good, perfect. And I'm like, you know what? That's completely fine. You know, it's like, I love these movies, and I was holding it at that point. I was like, ooh, it should probably be fine. But I'm like, oh my God, we're going to make it. And I'd look over him to him, you doing okay, bud? You okay? You okay? Yep. And I just took him at his word. If he said he's okay, great. If he said, now I probably shouldn't have said earlier, you can go to the bathroom alone, right? Because then I was like, just tell me if you have to go. And I said, and I was like, this was stupid of me. Grow up, Mike. There's no reason the kid has to go to the bathroom alone. And I didn't make him do it because I'm a good guy. I'm a decent guy. I don't want to be a decent guy. I want to be a guy who's watched the full movie. But come on, give me a break here. We missed absolutely nothing. And then we saw the spectacle of the two Barrys, the one Barry who didn't want to give up going back, even though he was tearing the universe apart. That was a weird kind of very CGI, very like cartoony CGI in the area where they do the back in time stuff. But I didn't mind it because it's a friggin' comic book movie, you know? So as much as some of the people that are supposed to look real life, and I'm saying the CGI isn't great, in that part I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's a dreamy, trippy comic book thing. It's okay that it doesn't look real. It doesn't have to look real. And technically we do see Henry Cavill in that scene. It's from one of the Justice Leagues. One of the Justice Leagues, the Snyder one or the original one, I don't know. But when we see those worlds collide, and I got back for that, and I have to say, I went, because we see this guy come in, and all of a sudden it's Christopher Reeve, and all of a sudden it's Helen Slater, and all of a sudden it's Adam West. And then we see the back of a Superman, in some universe with long hair. I was like, oh shit, did they do that? Did they go there? They didn't go there, did they? And then you turn and you see, and they show it even better later. It's friggin' Nicolas Cage in the suit, and he's fighting the giant spider. Wasn't that the spider that Kevin Smith talked about in, when he said when he was supposed to write a Superman movie, they wanted to fight a giant spider at the end. They show this Superman fighting a giant spider, and we also got George Reeves, the original Superman. It was just like, oh, I wanted them to keep going. Do it again. Give me another one. I feel like there might even have been another one, but I can't even remember it. It was so, I just loved it. It was weird. Like, they look like giant disco balls, but I guess it was just that was the way of visualizing the way the Speed Force works, I guess. There you go. Boom. Excuse. The story, I liked the story because it was, originally, he accidentally realized he can go back in time. So it shows him do this giant big save at the beginning, which was fun and silly and perfectly fine. I felt like seeing Barry run from Central City to Gotham, like it felt like a unique way of showing, because I've been watching The Flash for 9 years, but there was some way they did it in this where you're running fast with him. You're not just seeing this. You don't see really slow motion. You're seeing it from up above. I thought that looked really cool. I liked the opening credit, when it's the opening title card, when he's about to go and the words start showing up on the screen, but then it gets interrupted and has to do it again. I thought that was fun. There was so much to enjoy. Obviously, we get this whole Ben Affleck Batman scene where Batfleck is kicking ass, so he got to shine, and I'm assuming finally his last time as Batman. I'm guessing. It's so crazy because there were multiple Batmen in this movie, and yet there's also the Batman, and yet the director of this movie has now been hired to do the Brave and the Bold Batman movie with the James Gunn story. So it's like, you know what, DC, do make 1,000 Batman movies and with 1,000 different Batmen. I don't care. I'll watch them all. So we get this scene where Batman's kicking ass, and then he tries to, and what's his name is back as Alfred. You know what's his name? I can't think of him. He was in he was the famous British actor who was in Dead Ringers and lots of other movies. I want to say Jeremy Irons. He's Scar. So he shows back up as Alfred. I'm like, oh yeah, we're still in this world, and Batman's there. He tries to save, it doesn't matter. He's trying to chemicals or something where they drop in the lake, the world will blow up. And so he is almost going to drop him, and then all of a sudden the lasso of truth shows up, and I was not expecting that. And there's Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman again. I feel like I just saw her the other day in Shazam, and then she's showing up again, and I'm like, what is going on? What is she doing? And then there was again, lighthearted, fun moment of because he was lifted with the lasso of truth, he's got it wrapped on him, and he starts talking about like how he can't get close to people, like he's just spilling his guts. All these personal things were very funny, and then Barry tries to get the lasso off him, and he starts talking. He's like, I know what sex is, but I've never done it. Like it was just funny stuff. He's like, I didn't mean that. That was a metaphor. And then she flies off. So we got to see most of the Justice League. Henry Cavill, I guess because he never, I don't know if they wanted to do Supergirl, so this is how you do it in this world. Like, did they write around the fact that they weren't going to get Superman, or did they say, in this version there is no Superman? Because if they did that, what they did, I thought worked great, because it's a different timeline. Whatever happened, whatever Barry did, it affected things enough in some way, or it doesn't even have to affect things. It just so happens that in this version, Kal-El's ship got caught off course, and actually we learn later. I'm spoiling the whole thing. You've seen it, right? We learn later that Zod got the ship, killed the infant, and but the cousin made it to Earth. Well, it's not like Supergirl's a new thing, so it's not like it was created for this movie. And what I also liked was, am I wrong that do we see the cape in the trailers? I feel like I was like, well, I thought she wasn't going to have a cape. She had a cape, and now I could be completely wrong, but I thought the cape looked good, the suit looked good. Okay, she's a brunette instead of a blonde. Who gives a shit? I thought the girl who played it was fine, perfectly fine, and she looked believable, kicking ass. I loved the scene where they had to go get her, and they think they're saving Superman, and it turns out they see her. She's all emaciated because you could see the green glow, so there's obviously kryptonite there. They get her out, and it's like, I know that the sun is going to recharge her. So I'm like ready for it. I'm like, oh, she's outside. She's in the sun. Here it comes. And then, Batman is like, we just try not to die. And then you see she's up there flying, kicking ass. That was a great scene. Obviously, the whole thing we talked about Batman. Once Barry realizes he can go back in time, he talks to Bruce Wayne about it. And then Bruce is like, I don't think you should do it. But Barry goes to do it. And he's like, there's too many chances of you running into yourself. Well, that kind of happens. But originally, his original plan was, all I'm going to do is put a can of tomatoes in my mother's carriage. If she had that extra can, my dad would not have gone to go shopping for that can. So if he didn't go shopping, he wouldn't be gone while she got killed. And he didn't have an alibi, so he wouldn't be arrested. So it would save his mother, and everything would be great. So he goes and does that. And when he comes back, though, he doesn't come back right. He comes back a little early, quite early. In fact, he comes back and he's only with his teenage self. So I guess that's why they had to CGI it too, because I guess they tried to young him up a little, but not really. Sometimes he just kind of looked like himself. No, I feel like they just CGI'd the guy who wasn't actually Ezra with the long hair. So this was a younger version of Barry. Didn't have powers yet, but he had his mom. He had his mom all these years. He's a little goofy. He's almost like trippy. Like he talked about mushrooms, I think. And Barry goes back to him, gets to see his mom, gets to see his dad, and they think, oh, you cut your hair. And then he realizes, oh shit, his other self is coming to the house. So they have an adventure where they talk about, what the hell do they talk about? Oh, I forget. Oh, where they talk about, he shows him who he is, and he has powers. And sorry, my dog got up, and I thought she was going to go out, but she's just lying down, so I'm going to keep talking. So they realize you don't have your powers yet, and then he goes, "Wait, what day is it? What time is it?" And he realizes, "Oh my God, tonight's the night you get the powers. It's on this specific day. We have to go." So he goes to, because if he doesn't get the powers, I thought he's in a different universe. Okay, and even when we get the Back to the Future talk later, I thought he doesn't realize he's in a different universe yet. But what I believe it is he just changed one little thing in the timeline, and it had such a profound effect on the world that it changed things in the past and the future. So it's not quite a different universe as much as it is all these timelines create different universes. I think. I don't know. Either way. He goes to bring him to get his powers. They both get struck by lightning. The young Barry gets the powers. The older Barry loses the powers. And then I didn't realize most of this movie it was going to be the other Barry with the powers. Luckily, he gets it back later. They go looking for. Oh, he goes to meet his people his roommates that his young Barry lives with, and they're talking about, you're like, you don't know Superman? You don't have a Superman? What about a Wonder Woman? It's like, huh? What about Aquaman? That sounds like a merman on steroids. What about Batman? Oh, and then one of the girls goes, I'm Batman. Oh, you have a Batman? Yeah, we have a Batman. No one knows who he is. So they go to Bruce Wayne's house, and that's when we find out it isn't the Bruce Wayne that he knows. It is an old, long-haired Michael Keaton, but he still kicks some ass, and then he realizes, he's been in retirement all this time, and he's like, I don't want to help you. But they break into the Batcave, and they use his computers to try to look for Clark Kent. They're looking for Clark Kent. They're looking for Superman. Anything they can connect him, and that's when they find Kara, Supergirl. Instead, we get to see the Batcave. We get to see the Batmobile. Bruce Wayne, at one point, he's like, what am I doing? I need to help them. He opens up, and we see all his Batman costumes, his suits, which was great. Oh, my dog's jumping up. Hello, you want to lie down next to me? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Oh, this is going to be a long one. Yeah. Oh, now she's like curled right up into me. That's good, though. I love it. I love the cuddle bug. All right. I'm just going to move my headphones. Okay. So, they decide they're going to go save Superman. That's when they decide they need to go save Superman, and they end up saving Supergirl instead. And by the power of editing, it seems seamless. I'm back. So that's when they go get Supergirl. Supergirl breaks away. Actually, Supergirl comes back. Wait a minute. She shows up. She takes her suit and leaves? I don't remember. She faints. That's right. They go back to Wayne Manor. She is like, I need to go deal with Zod. Oh, yeah. The whole thing is that they're back far enough at the time when Zod showed up. So I'm going to guess 10 years earlier when Zod showed up at in Man of Steel. Except in this timeline, there never was Kal-El. So now he shows up, and he's just able to kick some ass. And now Kara is out, so she can go to take him on. But she can't quite do it without them. So at a certain point, she goes to see them. It doesn't quite work out. She comes back. She comes back when Barry is trying to get his powers back. And Bruce Wayne's like, okay, I'll just, you want to try to let yourself, do like a Frankenstein thing. Of course, he's got a bat kite. Of course he does, to attract lightning, to get struck by lightning and recreate it with all the chemicals. So they try it. It doesn't quite work. The chemicals, I guess, are still all over him. Supergirl shows up, flies him into the sky. That was kind of a cool scene. The light flashes white, comes back down, and all of a sudden you see him starting to heal. He's got his powers back. And we've got two Flashes now, two Barrys with powers, which leads to one of the scene where I laughed out loud, literally laughed out loud,
Barry, original Barry gets his suit back. It was actually, they had a cool scene. They had a cool, fun moment where they explained the ring with the suit. And that's a thing on the TV show. It's a thing in the comics. It's not just something made for this movie, where his suit is so tiny and when it hits the air, it expands. And so they do it. It hits the air, expands, and it just hits the ground. He's like, well, you're supposed to put it on, like really quickly. So Barry puts the suit back on. While that's going on, Batman tried to give Barry an old bat suit for him to wear to protect the lightning. He's like, no, I got to get struck by lightning. So other Barry, younger Barry, takes that suit, paints it up with some red paint, puts a lightning bolt on it, and then it's a funny scene where he just saws off the ears. So he's basically trying to make a Flash suit out of a Batman suit. And they're on the Batjet, the three of them, the two Flashes and one Batman, and you could see that the young Barry wants to talk to the other Barry, but he's in the old Batman suit. And if you remember from the 1980 Batman suit, one of the things was he can't turn his neck. He has to turn his whole body. Like, there's no neck. So I'm laughing just thinking about it. Barry goes to like turn, and then he just forces his whole head to turn over, and his face kind of gets like turned. It tears a little bit. He barely moves it. Like his face, the suit kind of stays there, but his head turns with it. That was a moment I actually did laugh out loud. They go to, because the first they did that might have been the first time the other Barry didn't have his outfit. So they flew in the jet together to go save what they thought was Superman, but was Supergirl. And they flew in the jet again with Supergirl flying by, and Barry trying to snap some pictures of her. He's like, what? Our kids are going to want to see this. And that's when they went to fight Zod. And there's a huge battle with Zod and all his Kryptonians. And I think Michael Shannon came out recently. He was like, it wasn't really satisfying coming back as Zod again. He really enjoyed doing Man of Steel, but this time it didn't feel like anything special. Which was, I don't care. He was fine. He didn't really do much. He had some of, similar beats of Man of Steel, and he ends up killing Kara. And at the same time, Batman's jet gets taken out. So he's like, I need to go out with a flurry, and he crashes into Zod's ship to take it out. So that's how they both die. That's when the whole thing of going back to try to save them over and over and over. Now, at one point when Barry was, that's what happened. I'm sorry. So when he went back and gave his mom the can, he's coming back out, and this like evil creature-looking dude almost looked like not Apocalypse, but who's the friggin' guy that is it Bane? No, Bane's the wrestler dude. I can't remember who it is, but he looked like a Superman villain, kind of, with all these rocks and jagged things coming out. And he actually almost attacks Barry, and that's why Barry gets stuck, earlier in time. He comes out of the timeline. It's a little different. So I'm glad I remember that. So later we see that young Barry gets stuck with something, and he can't get it out, so he starts using it as a weapon. Then they go back. Every time they go back, these little jagged things start coming out of him, and then I realize, okay, he's obviously that thing. He's going to turn into that thing, and it comes out that thing comes out later that they're going to go. That this young Barry's going to go back in time over and over and over again to try to save Kara and Batman, to the point where he becomes like this hideous monster, and he's an old man. And I thought, is there a character in there, or is that just Ezra Miller as an old man? I couldn't tell. It almost looked like a familiar guy, but I don't know. And then it sounded like Ezra Miller, so I'm thinking it was just digital in age. And you think he's evil, but he's like, this is what I've become. And this is what we will become. This is what we will be doing forever. So until he gets it right. But doing that crashed in the multiverse. And that's where we see all the different versions. That's where we see Chris Reeve, Nick Cage. That's where we see Helen Slater. like Adam West, George Reeves, just incredible, like set piece of a moment of things. And I feel like I'm missing one. I don't remember. I want to see this movie again. I hope it. Hopefully, it'll just be on Max. Otherwise, I will buy it. So I forget exactly how it happens. Oh, I think I know. Maybe he goes. Someone comes out of nowhere to try to kill Barry, or he goes to kill Barry, and then young Barry sacrifices himself. And when he dies, old Barry dies too. Something like that. I could be completely wrong. I literally watched it earlier today, but I don't quite know. So all that, multiverse crashing in, it kind of repairs itself. And Barry realizes at this point that he is, I forget how he realizes it. I honestly forget when he realizes it. It might have been with Batman at some point where he realizes that there's a fixed moment in time that cannot be changed. Once it is changed, it like anarchy will happen. And that fixed moment, one of these fixed moments, is the death of Barry's mother. So he realizes, that's what he tells young Barry. That's right. And young Barry's like, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to save them and everything's going to be fine. But after all that happens, old Barry goes back to the grocery store where he sees another version of himself earlier in the movie dropping the can in the thing. And he realizes, I have to undo this, because if I let my mother live, this is what happens, and it ends the world. So he realizes he can't do that. So it's a sad moment where he sees this woman, and she doesn't know who he is, but she's like, do you look like you're in trouble? He's like, oh, I'm here to visit my mom. I haven't seen her in a while. And he's like holding back tears. She gives him a hug. And then like you get this blue kind of, when you see time freezes, because he's moving so fast that he could say, I love you. I'm sorry. I love you. They had this thing. I love you more. I loved you first. And he walks away while she's hugging him, takes the can, puts it back on the shelf, walks back, and it goes back. And for her, nothing ever changed. But he moved so fast. I did love that he had to eat to move faster. At a certain point, he moved so fast that it was just like he could do whatever he wanted, and barely anything moved. So of course he had to let his mother die, but he didn't have to relive it. He just put the can back and then went back to his time. But what he did do before he left, he realizes that there's a camera in that store to show that his dad was there, but he never looked up. Excuse me. He never looked up, so they can never prove it was him. So what they do, or what Barry does, is later on we're seeing the end of the trial, and he looks up. I'm like, what the hell? What Barry did was he took those tomato cans that were down and he put them up on a top shelf. He didn't adjust anything with his mother's timeline. It didn't affect his mother. All it did was allow his dad to not go to jail, and apparently that doesn't affect the timeline. So he wasn't able to get back all those years. But they finally found the effect. Now they said we used scanning from, I think they said, from Wayne Enterprises to be able to show that, look, here's the actual video, and it shows him looking up. Now, if 2023, the one thing I'd be like, hey, that's probably deep fake. We can't trust that. We can't trust that at all. But it worked. There was a little bit of a sideline with Iris West that I knew was going to be his wife someday. I didn't say anything to my niece and nephew about it, but they, oh my God, I'm getting tired. He talked about how he with the dad, you had the crush on that girl, and they talked about like she's a journalist and she wants to be like, you should take me out sometime. Like they actually spoke. They hung out one night. He phased through a wall to go get beer. That was kind of funny. But he didn't stick around with her. She wasn't in it much. She was a small part of it. If there was more Flash, she'd be bigger part, I'm sure. But I think this might be the end, which is a shame on all. It's a shame because of how good I think he is as this character. But if he is, this kind of despicable person, then I don't want him to have. It's such a weird thing. I do love when they talked about Back to the Future, and I thought I was actually thinking, are they going to do this? Fringe did this years ago, where young Barry's like, oh, yes. Eric Stoltz was so great as Marty McFly. He's like, what are you talking about? Michael J. Fox. He goes, and I love that scene where they go, Michael J. Fox from Footloose? No, Footloose is Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon from Top Gun? Like, all these things were changed in this timeline. I don't want to say universe, because it wasn't really a different universe. It was just a different timeline. No, but I guess it was a different universe, because in this, how does it work that it'd have to be a different universe? Because then how come there's all these different Bruce Waynes? So maybe it is a different universe. I don't know, because, of course, after they leave the court, he gets a call from Bruce. Oh, and I realized that doesn't sound like Ben Affleck. Who the hell is that? And this car pulls up, and you realize he's like, don't worry, I'm here. And you see him get out, and you see white hair. And I think to myself, oh, somehow Michael Keaton is alive, and he's the version now. And then all of a sudden, it's Bruce Wayne. I mean, all of a sudden, it's George Clooney. And I think did Barry say, "Who the F are you?" I think he said the F word. I think he dropped the big F bomb, and I was like, and the kids they didn't get it, they didn't know it. And he's like, Barry, what's wrong with you? What are you talking about? And we got friggin' George Clooney as Bruce Wayne one more time. I had no idea it was coming. I was wondering if they do any other Bruce Waynes. So I was surprised on Wonder Woman. I was surprised on obviously George Clooney. I was surprised on all those CGI recreations of. Nicolas Cage. This is my second Nicolas Cage movie in a row, technically. They had to ask for his likeness. So that's the Tim Burton world. I was definitely not expecting Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater. Once I saw George Reeves, I was like, wait a second, what are we doing here? I was like, giddy up, let's go for the ride. So I just am very, very, very happy with this movie. I don't know if it's I thought this is really good. I thought the reviews are, fairly positive. It's got a 68%, 75 quote unquote fresh. I mean, come on, that's still pretty good. I thought it was 67 maybe the last time I checked, but still, I was quite pleased with it. Quite pleased with it. Dare I say I loved it. And is it a perfect movie? Of course not. But did it do what I think it set out to do? Yeah, I think it did. And Michael Keaton was in so much of it. Like, I did not expect him to be that much of it. And that you got the Batman's theme a bunch. And we got a little bit. Did we get a little bit of the John Williams theme? When I was just so like, oh, I think we did. And I was wearing my Superman shirt, so I was excited to see. Oh my God, I want to go back and see it again. But I'll probably wait until it's available on home video. This is it. It's 10 o'clock. I watch this. Here's the thing. This movie is, these movie theaters, I hadn't been in the movie theater in 4 years. This was the first time I've been to a movie theater in almost 4 years. The last film I saw in the theater was Rise of Skywalker. Then there was that pesky pandemic, and I hadn't been back since. I kept saying, they go back with a mask. Go back. They put up plastic things in between people. And then last year I was like, I'm ready to go back. And I just never did. And finally I went back, and now I'm like, oh yeah, seeing movies in the movie theater is way better. I love watching movies. I can watch a movie on my phone. I can watch it on my TV. I can watch it on my computer. You put it close enough, it's like you're watching on TV. But the experience of that theater, especially that theater with the huge screen, it's just like you cannot replicate that at home. I don't care how good your system is. You cannot replicate what I saw, what I experienced today, what we did. But now I want to go back, and I'm going to be on vacation soon. So I'm almost positive that I'll be back in the theater at least one more time. But I think I'm done. I feel like I've been just gabbing. I'm just like a teenager after his first date. Like, you just want to talk all about it. I've seen this guy's. He did what? It 2, and now he did The Flash, and I'm ready for his Batman and Robin, Brave and the Bold. Just give me more of these. Give me my characters. Marvel, you've had 30 effing movies out there. Give me more DC, please, please, please. But I think that's it. I'm really happy that my niece and nephew liked it, and they didn't know much about this going in. And I did the joke at the concession stand. I'm like, these kids and their superhero movies, they're dragging me here. Meanwhile, I'm the guy wearing the Superman shirt. I was just very, very happy with the entire experience, which is why I feel like I want to keep talking about it, but I also want to stop and get this podcast out to the masses. So, you know what? I think I'm done. I talked about the CGI faces looking a little weird. Talked about the Back to the Future. We saw Zod. We saw Superman. We saw Superman. We saw Superman. We saw Supergirl. We saw Supergirl. We saw Batman. Bruce Wayne, and Batman. And of course, the end signal. Now, I talked about the Justice League. I'm like, God, a lot of this Justice League is still here. We see there's Batman, there's Wonder Woman, there's the Flash. Okay? Then we get to Aquaman at the end stinger. But no Cyborg, and I kind of like, you know what? I don't think that guy's ever coming back. I don't think he wants to be back. And I'm like, you know what? They'll just enjoy. Like, I don't think he wants anything to do with it. So they're like, okay, we're fine with that. They mention him. He's just a football star in the change timeline. But whatever Barry did, he didn't come back exactly the same because Ben Affleck is gone and George Clooney's back. Now, what if the new world brought in a George Clooney as an old Batman, and they do Batman Beyond? I don't know. Now I'm going crazy. So the end stinger, I made the kids sit there for the end, and I realized, what could they possibly do to set things up? Because there isn't. I don't think there's anything left to set up. I feel like the new setup is coming next. It's almost like when DC reboots their comics. Oh, and it's the new 52. Oh, it's Rebirth. Oh, it's the new Rebirth. It's the dawn of DC. It's like, they're going to do it again. They're rebooting the TV shows and the movies. But the end stinger was just fun. I think it was just I think he was still. Oh, what he said is, and I'm pretty much the same in every version. Yeah, everywhere I've seen you, you're always the same. You're always like this cool, brooding, hairy guy who he's got Atlantia, but he's a drunk in this one. He's fall over, lay in the street drunk. But it was funny. It was just I think it was just kind of more of a lighthearted, silly end. Nothing, leading to anything. Because, as I said, what's there to lead to? But I'll tell you what this day leads to. It leads to tomorrow, where I'll be back again talking about another movie. Tomorrow while today I went to the movie theater, tomorrow I'm watching a movie that is part of a service that really did its best to try to disrupt the movie theater world and get you to watch movies at home. A little thing called Netflix with an X, if you're familiar. But that's it. I might watch that earlier. I might watch it late. I'm not quite sure. I know in the middle of the day we're going to be going off to this place with crafts and food trucks, and I guess that'll be fun. But I don't want to be like, it's wonderful. Can I go home and watch my movie now? I'm not going to do that. So that's it, my friends. I am out of here. I want to thank my niece and nephew for coming along with me. We had a fun day. And I want to thank them for showing up on the show. And I want to thank The Flash for being a movie that I actually thoroughly enjoyed. And I'm not trying to make excuses. I think I liked it, and I enjoyed it. And if that's a problem, I don't care. I don't. If you didn't like it, that's cool. That's fine. It might not be for you. I loved it. And that's where I'm going to leave it at. So thank you so much for listening. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Mastodon.social at Geek Mentality. You can find the Facebook page at Fans.Experts. And that's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. What a day. What a day. I worked half a day. Then got to go to the movies for the first time in years on a huge screen. Spend some quality time with my niece and nephew. And now I'm here talking to you. Just a very successful, very enjoyable day. But now it's over. And I need to get this up and go to bed. But I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, my friends, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome, my mom says. Please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans not experts.